On today's episode, questions to be answered and questions to be asked. Oh, and some finished objects. Hello and welcome to Miss Crafts Lair. If you are new here, I am Barbie, and this is where I share all things crafty with a focus on knitting, crochet, and sewing. If that is something that you're interested in, please consider subscribing. I am closing in on the goal that I have for this year, and I am so excited. Before I get into my finished projects and the subsequent yarn usage for October, I do have some news that I would like to get into and such. First thing is, I did realize that I made a level 7 oopsie on my last week's video. I shared what my diffusers looked like the light and stuff, the scene with the diffusers in place. But I failed to show you what those diffusers look like on the actual lights themselves. So here is footage of those on my Ottlight or my Ottlight socks. And here is some footage from my shop lights where I have them actually magneted, held on by magnets. They have been there for a couple weeks now, and I have not seen any issues with them getting too hot or even smelling funny. So I think that I'm in the clear. Again, if you are wanting to do that for your videos or your photography, whatever, if you are wanting to do this DIY, I do recommend that you do some homework first. Let's be smart. Let's not torch our houses by accident. But for me, I am quite pleased with how things are looking. Now, besides the diffusers to kind of help out with the lighting in my area, I also made a software change for my editing software. I was using Lightworks, and I had just decided that I have used that for as long as I can. In the free version, I am a small channel, and so I did not want to go out and buy paid software quite yet. I want to get a few more subscribers for that and such. So I went and made the switch from Lightworks to DaVinci Resolve, which I am quite pleased with in my playing around with it. It seems like it's an easier software to use, as well as it does afford me the ability to, with their free version, upload or export in in a higher quality. So I think that is a good point. If you are seeing a decent amount of changes, or if you like the changes, if you've been around, um, be sure to comment below what you think. Like I said, I am not going to be running out and getting pay for editing software for videos until I get a little bit higher up in the food chain. So thank you for your patience with that. The next change is more of an addition. So I have been seeing that YouTube is playing around with AI and using AI to decide if videos need strikes or whatever. And so I have decided that I wanted to move up plans. I was planning on starting Twitch at the beginning of 2026. However, with the kind of games that YouTube is seemingly playing right now, I decided it was probably a good idea to broaden my horizons. So I did start streaming on Twitch. There's over there you can find me on Friday nights. I do have vacation mode set up, and it is incorrect at this point in time of recording this. I do have it set as vacation mode. For some reason, it's saying that I'm going to be coming back at the end of November. I'm actually going to be back on the 21st of November, and I'm going to be on at 6 p.m. my local time, which is Central Standard, because we just had the time change. That is going to be every Friday ish. If I'm not on like right at 6, or if I'm like kind of lagging on, I will let you guys know in other platforms, because I don't think that I can really send out a message to everybody on Twitch. I'm still learning Twitch. I'm still kind of rusty. It's a learning experience because it is slightly different than YouTube. I'm also planning on adding YouTube lives in as soon as I start getting a little bit better at Twitch, because I'm thinking maybe simul streaming, if that's even a term. I don't even know if that's a term, but it just seems, it sounds good to me, so I'm going to go with simul streaming. So, like I said, that will be on Friday nights, 6 p.m. Central Standard. I'm planning on my streams being at least an hour long, but I'm no guarantee on exactly how long beyond that they would be. So, just to give you the heads up, if you want to meet me over there, feel free. And the final tidbit of news or information that I wanted to let you guys know about is that I am planning on either dusting off my Patreon, which I have had in the past. It is kind of sitting defunct right now. However, I am considering bringing that back, dusting that off, and making that a central hub for where you can find all of my information. So I would be posting on the meta sites and here on YouTube and such. And all of those posts I am going to be posting on the Patreon. I am also considering getting Ko-fi, um, just as a way to have another option there as well. I'm deciding still on that. I kind of back and forth, but um, I do know that I am going to have kind of a tip jar or similar um, Patreon tier, because I don't at this point in time want to put anything behind paywall. So there's going to be a tip jar if you want to sign up for monthly tips or whatever. That's your decision. I am still kind of getting the ick from that a little bit, but I will get over. I have to get over that too. So without further ado, now that you have listened to all of my news, you want to see finished objects, and you want to see my yarn usage for October. Y'all, I underestimated myself. That's all I'm going to say right now. I moved you guys back a little bit so that way I had a little bit more room to hold up finished objects, because they are big right now. If you watched this video, I went into my ideas and my plans that I needed to do or wanted to do before I moved on to other plans. Those being, I needed, first off, in order to start a project that I wanted to start, I wanted to make another comically large bag, as I call them. They are my project bags, and I will show you the original. This is the original. So this is when it is not full, what like it is right now with the project that I'm going to be showing you here in just a little bit. When it is not full, it looks so huge. So huge. However, I wanted to start working on this other project, and I knew at that point in time I needed more of those large bags. So I had plans to make two. The first one was in blues because I wanted another colorful one in order to put a tan or beige. What color are you? Mocha, I think it is, but we'll get to that. So this is how big it is. It looks absolutely huge. Like on shoulder, it looks absolutely huge. So I decided that I needed this one. So I needed it in this color for I didn't want to put another beige or tan. And this has also been used, so it's got some leaves and stuff on it because Midwest and fall. Anyway, so I made this one and I was super happy with it. Went quite quickly. I will not get into the amount of yarn that I used on this one quite yet because there are more stuff that I want to share with you as to what I have done. So I will get all of these totals for the grams here at the end of this, but this is the blues version. And then I wanted to make the tan version, which is one that I also had mentioned. So this is it in tan and brown. And I will get in there so you can see it a little bit better. My autofocus is off because if I have my autofocus on, it just like kind of pulses and it just gets annoying. So this is that same size bag, same size shoulder strap and all. Same bag, same amount of stitches. The only difference is that I did notice that this one seems a bit heavier in weight than the blue one. And when I weighed them just a little bit ago, I did realize that there is a weight discrepancy there, but that's okay. Yeah. So this was in the tan and the brown. The tan is technically not coming out of my stash, but I am still counting it as yarn usage. So it was one that I found after. No, the tan for this is actually a skein that I found that I had in a project bag, but I decided that that particular project was going to be elsewhere. So I ended up frogging that and putting that into this bag as well as the next bag. Now, when I was working on that one, I'm like, you know what? I did have this idea of making a s'mores themed shawl. So, I had all of that yarn and I'm like, why not a s'mores themed project bag? So, here it is. So it is kind of s'mores inspired. I have the graham cracker, the chocolate, and the marshmallow. Um, Still have a tail to hide because this one has not gone traveling with me. It was the one and only one. No, I did not take the browns. I was gonna say I don't. The only one that has the tails hidden currently is the blues. So I do have to hide tails on this, but it is pretty much done. And like the tans one, it is a bit heavier than the blues. The next finished piece that I have, I am going to throw video on the screen for because it is so huge and it is the corner to corner blanket that I started that I had originally wanted to make the blues bag. No, I did not want to make the blues bag for that. That was already in the multicolored one that I had just shown, like the original bag. The blues bag was intended for the hoodie. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I had um the purple yarn and the white yarn from this particular blanket I had in my stash, wanted to use it up, figured a corner to corner blanket was a good way to start on that. And here it is. I am so happy with how this one turned out. It is so pretty. It is going to be so warm. I do have tails to hide on it. I made it as close to 60 by 50 as possible for like the typical throw size. I think it might just be a little over. Um, the only thing that I don't care for it is the fact that it didn't start and end on a purple. It started on purple and it ended with a white. That's the only thing that I don't really care for, but I think with the added um, the edging, but I think with the edging, it does kind of balance it out just a little bit better. So, yeah, so that was quite a bit of yarn down in that one. And the final thing that I wanted to show as far as yarn usage is I did start on the cozy hoodie. I had to read, my gauge was spot on. Like, that was one of the first times that my gauge was spot on from the gauge swatch, from the needles without having to play around with needles. So that's cool. Another thing is that I did have to kind of read over the the instructions quite a few times because this was the first time that I actually made like a stitch on pocket. It's the first time I made a pocket on anything knitted. And this was kind of, I've made them crocheted where I make it afterwards and then I stitch it around. This one is actually like stitched into the actual stitching for the knit stitches, and this was a little bit of a different thing for me to do. So let me show you that. And it is currently living in my multicolored project bag, which, like I said, is big enough to hold my pattern. This is the yarn that I have left to use. And here is my project. I got a little bit of pulled out yarn there. Put that down. And so here is the pocket. So I'm the instructions it said to work on the back first. I was already there at the front and I don't like a lot of tails. So I'm like, if I'm here already, why cut the yarn to attach it to the back to work on the back and then having to cut that and then attach it to the front again. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna work the front in first and then I'll tackle the back. So the back stitches are on a holding yarn. This is actually the Bloom yarn that I used for a sweater not that long ago. But here is the front, and this was the first time of me making this kind of pocket. So you make so basically what it is you stitch the pocket and then you go back and you um, attach and you work up in the back. So I was thinking about it. I see some like ways that I can make it a little bit easier, but I do have a bit of a hole. I don't know if I didn't do it correctly or if that's the way it's supposed to be and you just stitch it up afterwards. That's what I am going to do. I did while working on this, I did like think in my brain that there was other ways to do this. Um, but I'm happy with it. I and also I have to do a little bit of a shout out to myself. Look at how even I have been knitting now for like 22 years. I've been knitting now and 20 years. I've been knitting for 20 years. And look at how even my stitches are. Like I'm chuffed with myself. Learn something new. My I am not having so far any issues with like tension with this, and I'm actually like really proud of myself. I am using the Big Twist Value Pound Plus for this one, and it is in the color toffee, not mocha. It's toffee. So that is where I am at in my projects and such. Let me clean up and I will be back with you with the yarn totals. Now I am back with yarn totals. So for the corner to corner blanket, I used 1,344 grams of yarn. For the blues bag, that was the lighter of the 3 bags that I made. That particular bag weighs in at 268 grams of yarn. The tan bag came up to 354 grams of yarn. The s'mores bag came up to 324 grams of yarn. And left over, because I did not want to weigh the hoodie, I just wanted to weigh the yarn that is left in that particular skein. So that skein started off at 500 grams. I weighed that at being 232 grams after all that I have used for the hoodie, which got me to 268 grams of yarn that I have used so far on the hoodie, and which brings me to the grand total of using 2,558 grams of yarn in October alone. Editing Barbie here. I forgot to add in the total for the yarn usage for the 2 videos that I made in October as well. So that would have been the witch hat, which was 258 grams, and the flower monster, which came to 195 grams. This adjusted total for the October usage is actually 3,011. I think I may have underestimated my yarn usage by just a little, because my 6-month goal or challenge was to use 5,000 grams of yarn, and I have already used more than half of that in October alone. So there may be some tweaking done to this challenge, because if I continue on the same way, I am going to have this challenge nipped in the bud in 2 months rather than 6. So I am not sure if I'm going to up that total or keep it and just run with it to see and turn it into this is how much I used in 6 months, instead of let's see if I can use this much in 6 months. I don't know. If you have any ideas, comment in the comments below, because I'm kind of confused at this moment. When I added this all up, I was like, are you kidding me? So, but that is basically it for today. So if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. Comment below your comments as to uh, the look of the screen, the audio. Comment on my audio, because I'm hoping that with the switch to DaVinci Resolve, that has resolved that issue. As well as what you might think about how I continue on with this particular challenge or whatever. So, whatever this becomes, because like I said, I'm clueless. So, I hope that you did like this. And if you know of anyone who would be interested in seeing my crazy shenanigans, be sure to share this with your friends. And until next time, bye.